Moving on now to our fourth study skill, elaborative interrogation. For this activity, you'll need some paper, coloured pens and post-it notes, if you have them. First of all, don't panic. This study technique sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. Think back to when you were a young child. What was the question you asked the most? I'd be willing to bet it was, why? Why is the sun so bright? Why is the sky so blue? Why do I have to go to bed right now? Why do I need to eat those sprouts? When you were young, everything around you encouraged curiosity. Your minds were eager for information and you were keen to know how everything worked. In the same way, the elaborative interrogation strategy is a study technique that encourages learning through the use of the question, why? This strategy works by generating a question on a topic of your choice. You could create this question after reading through your class notes, or after reading a page from your revision guide, or after watching an online revision video. Let's watch this video from BBC Bitesize together and see how many why questions we can generate.
Plants make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. Light energy from the sun is absorbed into the green pigment of the plant, called chlorophyll, found inside the chloroplasts in the plant cells. The plant also takes in carbon dioxide and water, which is used to produce sugar in the chloroplast and is stored as starch in the leaves. Oxygen is released as a byproduct. Three limiting factors affect photosynthesis. Without light and carbon dioxide, a plant can't photosynthesize. And because the reactions inside plants are controlled by enzymes, the temperature is important. If it's too hot or cold, the enzymes won't function as efficiently as they should. These factors can be controlled inside a greenhouse. Lamps can provide light, carbon dioxide levels can be controlled, and the temperature can be increased using heaters. Organisms require energy to grow, repair themselves, reproduce, and carry out everyday tasks, such as movement. Glucose is the main source of that energy. Cells break down glucose and oxygen in a series of enzyme-controlled reactions known as respiration. Energy is produced while carbon dioxide and water are released as byproducts. Respiration occurs in all living things, including animals, plants, and fungi such as yeast. If oxygen is present, the process is known as aerobic respiration. In the absence of oxygen, the process is known as fermentation. The products of fermentation differ between animal cells and plant cells. A small amount of energy is produced either way, but only 1/15 of the energy produced during aerobic respiration. Three limiting factors affect photosynthesis: light, carbon dioxide, and temperature, while respiration works either with or without oxygen.
Pause this video now and write down your own list of why questions related to the topic of photosynthesis. Aim for at least 5 questions if you can. So here are some of the questions I have generated after watching the video. Why do plants need water to grow? Why do plants absorb carbon dioxide? Why can't plants grow in the dark? It doesn't matter if your questions seem quite simple. In fact, it is sometimes the simplest questions that require the most detailed answers. So now I'm going to choose just one of these questions to elaborate. I think I'll go for, why can't plants grow in the dark? Write your chosen question in the middle of a large piece of paper. You now need to imagine that you are a parent answering a child's why question. What arguments or reason can you find to explain why a plant cannot grow in the dark? For example, photosynthesis is how a green plant makes its own food using sunlight. Without the sunlight, the plant cannot produce glucose to increase its biomass. Add this to your large sheets. You could use post-it notes so you can come back and revisit this topic at a later date, but you could write directly onto your sheet. You can see I have used a different colour for any key words, so they stand out and become more memorable. Now I'll see if I can add another reason why plants can't grow in the dark. You could do this from your own knowledge, or you could revisit the video or your class notes or revision guide, just like I've done. I'm going to add this one. 4 things that are required for photosynthesis: sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water. What I can do now is I can start building on these explanations to add an extra level of detail. Chlorophyll is a green chemical found in the chloroplasts of plant cells. The chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight and uses its energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose. I may also start to explain how plant cells have special features which enable photosynthesis to take place. You can see here that I've added a diagram of a plant cell as part of my explanation. Keep on going until you've provided as many reasons as you possibly can to explain why plants cannot grow in the dark. Take a few minutes now to complete your own elaborative interrogation to practice the technique. Use photosynthesis as your topic, but maybe use a different why question to get you started. This technique also works well in pairs or small groups. Agree on one why question and see what different responses you give. Do you agree with your partner's response? Is it correct? Is it a more effective answer than yours? Can you combine your answers to create the perfect explanation? See how you get on. Try this technique with some other key topics, or use it as a method of checking your understanding after you complete a topic in class. Remember, some why questions may generate many answers, whereas others may only generate 1 or 2 responses. I would also recommend using this technique when preparing for any form of extended writing or long answer question. It's a great way of structuring your arguments before you start the task.